Welcome to the Fantasy Thinker. I'm Jared, and today I want to talk about Oathbreakers, the war of brothers that shattered an empire and made medieval Europe. This is written by Matthew Gabriele and David M. Perry. And so I got to tell you, fantasy fans, this could be the book for you. It's a history book that takes nonfiction and gives the whole saying, truth is stranger than fiction, a solid ring of, well, truth. I don't know about stranger, but the truth here is definitely fantastic. It's a tightly woven tale of the end of the Carolingian Empire, and it kind of rivals a Game of Thrones in its political mixing and character list, and just some of the horrid things that people do to each other. So our tale starts with Charles the Great, or Charlemagne, as he is better known. It details his rise to power, a little bit in the beginning here, his crowning by the Pope in Rome as emperor in this effort to bring legitimacy back to Western Europe, and his passing on of the crown to his son, Louis the Pious. Louis the Pious then has 3 sons who proceed to fight not only among themselves for control of the empire, but with their father as well. This long, protracted civil war ends with a split empire and the beginnings of what would eventually become medieval France, Germany, and many more. There are a lot of people involved in this history, many personas, so to speak. There's a heavy character list like you get in, big epic fantasies. To make it even more confusing, many of these people have the same name. There are a whole bunch of Louis, Pepins, Charleses, and then other names that are either strange or archaic in sound. Some of the names are distinguished with descriptors like Charles the Bald, so you can make it a little easier on a reader to keep them apart. But still, there's a lot to keep track of. And the historians in here paint an excellent picture of the times with really great economic alacrity, because this is only a 250-page book, and it's very easy to read, very pleasant to read. So they really did a great job of laying it all down so that anybody can read this and enjoy it. They emphasize the influence of faith and superstition that the writers of the time imposed upon their works, while also acknowledging the strictures and demands that were placed upon the chroniclers of this period. Everything written during this time period, from this takes place from the late 700s to the late 800s. Everything written back then was considered public, so anyone writing letters, histories, or accounts was very aware that anybody could end up reading these letters. So they had to make sure that they weren't going to write something like self-incriminating, and many times a chronicler's job was to control the story to make their sovereign look good. These historians' jobs here, they had to parse out the difference between what was written and what was meant, and that can become quite convoluted. And I think these guys did a great job of spelling that out to us and making it clear. And there were some other points brought up too about in the book how jaded and nationalistic 19th century historians, we're talking like the 1800s, were about this period in time, as the 19th century often tried to paint this era as a struggle between Frank and Arab and Christian and Muslim, and that just wasn't quite true at all. Most of the times it was the Franks fighting themselves and then using various Muslim rulers as allies against their opponents, or places of refuge away from their opponents. So the 19th century historians sometimes muddled that up a little bit to make their nationalistic tendencies look better. Um, Also, warfare was quite different back then. Most of the time, armies were mustered, brought to an agreed upon field, and then showed off. And then after it was determined who would like logically win such a conflict beforehand, a winner would be predetermined, and everyone would go home. So, other than skirmishes and raids, which there was plenty of those, there weren't too many large-scale bloodbaths. This is kind of in contradiction to this like harsh system of legal judgment, um, where it was like quite regular for somebody to get a hand cut off or be blinded as penance, and then just later die of their wounds. So I found that interesting, that they were worried about too much bloodshed during a battle, but then during, you know, judgment from a king, they would do some pretty bloody stuff. Um, so what's ultimately revealed in these pages here is that a real change came to Europe, um, finally during the battle for Fontenoy. It's an area in Central Europe there, and that occurred between three kings, sons of Louis the Pious, and a bunch of various nobles and stuff. Like I said, the character list is pretty long in here. Um, but this battle particularly was a changing point for blood spilled, and it was a changing point for true civil war to erupt. It is where managed bloodshed turned into massacre. And the details are in the telling, and they are fascinating. So overall, I really enjoyed my time with this little slice of history. It's only 250 pages, and I think any fan of historical or fantasy literature will greatly enjoy this as well. So, yeah, if you're looking for a little nonfiction in your reading, do yourself a favor and pick this up, and I recommend it. Pretty cool stuff. All right, as always, be good to each other, like and subscribe, and thank you.